always use a light pen to go along with it. Okay, so this is mostly used by, let's say, architects, or not architects, sorry, artists and cartoonists. So when they want to draw images and put them directly into the system, they use a digitizing tablet. The next thing we want to look at is the touch sensitive screen. Now the touch sensitive screen, which you guys should know about, is basically a device that allows you to interact with the computer by actually touching the screen itself. This can be found on some laptops, and also it can be found on some other devices as well, like for example tablets and so forth. Alright, so let's move on. And now we're going to look at the gaming input devices. Now these gaming input devices, the most popular one is the joystick. The joystick allows users to control the movement of the object on the screen. So basically it's where you have a vertical stick coming off the device and you can move it left and right. There is also a joystick on your controllers, like your Xbox controller. There is a smaller joystick on there, but that's basically what joystick is. A gaming pad now, this is where it's basically like your console, your Xbox console or your PS4 controller, anything like that. So it's basically the device that's going to allow you to maneuver around the screen and play your game. It's a handheld device. Then you have the gaming wheel. Now, as the name suggests, the gaming wheel is actually a wheel where you can control any racing game. Now, there are different variations of this where you may have the entire driving apparatus, which would be the wheel, the shifter, and the pedals. Right? You have some where there's all of that is combined into one device that allows you to play games, driving games in particular. Then we have the light gun. The light gun is basically where it's a device that looks like a gun, and you can point it at the screen and it registers if you hit a target. And the last one in this slide is the dancing pad, or the dance pad. Now this is where you have an actual pad on the floor, and you can step on different reference points, and it then relates to what the dancing game you have on the screen. There are also machines that do this as well. Now the final type of gaming input device is actually the motion sensing game controller. Now this is where you can have an actual device, or you can have a camera actually watching what you're doing. So let's say, for example, you're using a Nintendo Wii and you're playing tennis. The controller that you have in your hand would be the motion sensing gaming controller. So it's gonna sense or follow your motion whenever you do it with that controller in your hand. If you have, for example, an Xbox, they have a system where they have a camera with their system, and it can follow your motions or mimic your motions and then display them on the screen as you move. Alright, so there are basically two ways you can do it. You can have an actual device in your hand, or you can have a camera watching what you're doing and then mimicking it on the screen. Let's move on now to the biggest category, which is the scanning devices, Now, the main type of scanning device is basically your scanner. Now, scanners can be a standalone, or they can be a part of another device. But let's look at them in terms of being standalone. Now, there are 4 types of scanners that you need to know about. The first one is a flatbed scanner. This is where you have a device. You have a device, and you have to put the documentation or any image that you want to, any document, that you want to scan into the computer system on this device, and then it does that. So this is a stationary device. Then you have the handheld scanner, where you have an actual device you can hold in your hand and then run over the document that you want to scan into the system. You then have the drum scanner, and this is normally used in the publishing industry, where it captures images, and because of the industry it's used in, it's very expensive. And finally, we have the sheet feed scanner. With the sheet feed, the image is fed through rollers, and the pictures and scanners as the paper passes through it. Right? So that is basically your 4 types of scanners.